We've just passed our halfway mark across the bay. A good time for me to find out how some of my fellow pilgrims are feeling about the experience. James, you've brought your family on this walk. Why have you come on a pilgrimage?
Well, the essence of any pilgrimage is for us to understand probably why we're here. So this, for me, is probably something I've not done before, so it's a good thing to do. It's going to contain very great spiritual significance.
I think it's a great experience because I knew that Jesus walked on the water, and as I was walking, I thought, wow, yeah, Jesus walked on the water. I'm walking with Jesus, I was like reflecting and, meditating. I was praying even as I was walking because it's all about praying, sacrifice, So I'm so excited and very happy.
After a Benedictine order moved into Mont Saint-Michel in 966, the abbey began to attract pilgrims. But when an Augustinian friar, Martin Luther, initiated the Reformation in 1517, his aversion to pilgrimages meant they began to be frowned upon by many Protestants. Today, however, many Christians from different denominations are returning to the idea of pilgrimage as a way of exploring their faith. François, what does this walk mean to you?
I'm a happy man actually because I live in an environment that I literally adore.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I'm someone who is really sensitive to the things of nature, and I'm also a Christian. So leading all these people is much more than only a physical move. It's a permanent conversion actually.
Yeah. I feel like this, to me, is sort of reminiscent of a biblical scene.
Yes, indeed. You can do a clear analogy between this portion of the Ancient Testament where Moses crosses the sea, and this place where you also have biblical elements like the rock, the sand that characterizes the multitude, the wind, the Holy Spirit, and just enjoying the creation. That makes you close to God, I think.
Yeah. We just need that sea to part now, don't we?
Yeah, that's not in my power.
Across the English Channel, just off the coast of Cornwall, lies another rocky outcrop with a stunning building on it. It looks remarkably like Mont Saint-Michel and is also surrounded by the sea at high tide. Josie Darby has been finding out more.
The Priory is the focal point of St Michael's Mount, which is some 13 miles east of Land's End in Cornwall. And until the dissolution of the monasteries in the late 1530s, it was home to a Benedictine order. Historically, this is the way that the monks would have had to travel by boat, and I have to say it's quite a way to take in that spectacular view and the fresh Cornish sea air. It's now a castle and belongs to Lord James St Levan and his family. James, how lovely to meet you.
Oh, and you, Josie.
Beautiful home you've got, I must say.
Well, it is absolutely lovely, but come and have a look.
I'd love to. James, why are these known as the Pilgrims Steps?
Well, they were rediscovered in the 1950s. At the time, my grandfather called them the Pilgrim Steps, partly because they were almost certainly used by the pilgrims who came in medieval times. But it's also where our visitors come now, and also pilgrimages, which we still have today.
In the Middle Ages, the main highway through Cornwall ran close to St Michael's Mount, and pilgrims would come in the hope their prayers would be answered. In the 12th century, ownership was given by Britain's Norman rulers to the then abbot of Mont Saint-Michel, Bernard de Bec, who used it as a training ground for young monks. So is it true that Saint-Michel used to send monks to St Michael's as some way of testing their mettle, a bit of a boot camp for them, because life here was so much more difficult?
Well, it certainly would have been a rugged place to live in medieval times, and I believe they did send the young monks and see if they could survive 5 years in Cornwall.
And it's very busy. Is it always this busy year round? Why do people come here?
People have come here all its history. I mean, I think even back in the Bronze Age that we've got evidence there was a marketplace here that people would sail to.
So which bit of the castle is this bit that we're looking at now that we're heading toward?
You're treading the route that many pilgrims have trodden. Well, this is the west door, and this is the way everyone would have approached in medieval times.
Is there anything left of the original priory?
Well, the church is still very much the heart of the place. We have a chaplain for the island, and we hold services every Sunday from the end of May until the end of September, at Christmas and Easter, and of course on St Michael's Day. Normally I read the lesson and I take the collection.
It's a beautiful church. How much of this building is original?
Well, there's a room underneath the pews there which is part of the original, and possibly the tower is still the original Norman tower, but most of the rest of the church was rebuilt towards the end of the 14th century.
Even though it's not used as a monastery anymore, it still has a very spiritual sense about it.
It does, and it draws people of all different creeds, and it's a very broad appeal.
Does it hold that significance for you?
I don't think you could live on this island without feeling it was a special spiritual place. And there are moments when I have a sense of St Michael watching over us.